Okay, so I've got the car in the workshop now, and the idea is now we're going to start the paint correction process. And that's where we start with, we effectively machine polish the paint, start with an aggressive compound, and work our way down to an ultra fine compound, and that will remove all the swirl marks and scratches, get all the dead paint off it, and bring it back to a really sort of nice high gloss shine. Inspecting the paint earlier, it's what I'd expect from a car of that age. So once we put our proper inspection lights on, you'll get some better video and you'll see the imperfections in there, and you'll see what we're going to try and polish out. Thankfully for me, I own a car detailing business called Sports Car Protection. I've spent the last 27 years working all around the world detailing some quite exotic vehicles. So thankfully for me, I know what I'm doing here. So this is something that I'm good at. So let's get stuck in and get the car back to a former glory. So you can see there we've got the halogen inspection lamps on the car now on the bonnet, and they highlight all the imperfections in the paintwork. So all those years of dodgy car washes and things being dragged over the car and what have you, they put these scratches and swirl marks in and they dull the paint. So the next process now, over the next few days, is going to be some quite intensive machine polishing on that to get rid of all those and really bring that colour back out and get it back to a nice shine. And I've just moved the lights over the other side of the bonnet, and again you can see it's quite sort of heavily scratched. There's some quite deep scratches down here. As you can see they're too deep to get out, I can tell you that now, they're not going to come out. All we can do there is try and tidy them up and just round the edges off a bit and get your eye off them. If you tried to polish these out completely, you'd end up going straight through the lacquer and then you'd be into a repaint. So with any kind of paint correction, you always have to take as much care as you can and be sensible with it. There's a little bit of corrosion down on the edge of the bonnet there. Not much we can do about that. I'm just going to run the polisher over it, just try and tidy it up a bit, but these scabs and stuff will still be there. Once I've done the paint correction, I'll decide whether I want to respray the bonnet or not. But that's probably the worst of it. As you can see there, before we start polishing, we always mask up the edges on the opposite panel. The paint is the thinnest on the edges, so that really, it's just a safety thing, just to make sure that we don't burn through the edges when we come to the edge of this panel with a polisher. There's a lot of detailers that don't do this. It baffles me because you're just leaving yourself open for error. And the type of vehicles that we normally work on, Porsches, Ferraris, things like that, old classic race cars, you just can't afford to take any chances. And okay, this might be a £1,200 Rover, but our attitude is you still have to take the same kind of care. The one thing I have noticed on the car is just on this corner here, I don't know whether the video is actually going to pick it up, but if you look carefully, the layout of the metallic is slightly different to the original. I'm not sure if the video is picking this up. So that indicates to me that it's had some paint on the front, and I think if we look carefully, you might just be able to see the blend line there, that line there, and that's where they've blended up and over. Again, we will polish that and we'll make it look better and try and hide this blend line as much as possible. But for the the guys that can spot these things, that you will still be able to see that. All I can do is just try and tidy up and bring the sort of gloss more even across the panel there. Okay, so I'm going to start on the bonnet, on the driver's side on the panel that sits by the washer jet. So this is the damage in the paint before I start. So you can see it's very, very, very heavily swirled and scratched. And I'll come down the bottom to those deeper scratches there, which, as I said previously, they're not going to come out. I know that for a fact, they're too deep, but so we'll do our best there just to tidy them up and get them as good as we can. But that's the before. all those nasty scratches and swirls are hiding the true colour of the paint. So once we get those out and get some clarity to that lacquer, you'll see that it brings out all the metallic and everything, all the fleck, and brings it back to a nice shine. So this is after the first pass over with the aggressive compound. You can see it's taken the top of the sort of damaged layer of paint off. There's still quite a lot to get out there. And you can see, because of the nature of the aggressive compound, the holograms that it's creating, we'll sort those out later as we work down towards the more sort of finer, ultra fine compounds. I'll sort that out. But now it's starting to reveal sort of the deeper scratches there if you look sort of close at the lights. Now we've got those top swirls out, the halogens, which they're really good for this. They do show the deeper scratches, where if you just used LED lights, they would just really show the lighter scratches on the top, which is not really what I want to do. I want to get real sort of down deep and get all these sort of nasty deep ones out and get the paint as good as possible. So that's after the first pass. You can see those two big scratches now that I said that they wouldn't come out. You can see how deep they are. You can get your fingernail in there, and they're right down to through the base coat. So all I can do is just live with those, tidy them up, and if I'm not happy with them, just get the bonnet painted eventually. Okay, so now I've done 4 passes with the intensive sort of aggressive polish, and you can see now that we've really got down through all those scratches and swirl marks. As we approach the sort of bottom of the bonnet, you can see obviously those deep ones, that's what we couldn't get out. But now you can really see that metallic starting to shine through. Now there's some clarity to the lacquer. So the next stage is to do this all around the car itself, and then we'll switch to a medium cut polish and then onto a finer one. But to give you some sort of idea of the difference, that's the bit that I've polished, and as we come over onto the other bit of the bonnet, you can see there, that's the bit that we've not been near. So you can see there's just a massive difference between the two. And again, I've just moved the lights over, so that's the bonnet that's been polished now. So you can see all that metallic really sort of coming through the lacquer. If I just come across to the side, that's the bit that we haven't polished yet. So that gives you an idea of where we were when we started and to where we're sort of heading towards. As I said, there's still probably two, three more stages of polishing left to go till it's finished. But as a whole, it's really starting to come together now. So moving over to the near side bonnet now. This is the before. And once I've given it a polish, I shall show you the after. Again, same as the other side, it's quite heavily swirled. There are a few birdshit etchings down here as well. I'm not sure whether the video is going to pick them up, but there's one there just in the middle of the two lights. So I'll probably have to wet sand those out. And I know there's one just over this part somewhere which I could see in the lights when I did the other side, the driver's side of the bonnet down there. So I shall attack it from all angles and see where we end up. There's the paint blend down the bottom. So hopefully I'll be able to tidy that up a bit and get it to sort of blend more into the original sort of paintwork. You can just see the blend line there. This is the passenger side of the bonnet after the first stages of paint correction. So you can see that's tidied up really well as well. And as we come down to the bottom where that paint blend was, That's tidied up really good. Still faintly see the blend line, but as a whole, that's gone in really, really nice. Anybody in the detailing industry will tell you that that can be a shit show of a job sometimes, and it just, depending on the quality of the paint that they've used when they've done the blowing, sometimes you can just polish it straight off and it doesn't end well. So I'm really pleased with that. If you're being massively critical, there's a slight little bit of shading when you catch it from a certain angle, but as a whole, I think in natural light that's going to look pretty good. Again, you can see all the metallics starting to come through. There's still a few more stages of polishing to go, but it's starting to give you the idea now of what sort of level we're going to get the paintwork to. So we'll stop the video there for now. That gives you an idea of sort of what's going to happen when we do the paint correction on the car. I'll follow it up with a more in-depth video once we've got the whole car finished and got it graphene coated, and that'll give you an idea of, you know, sort of the standards that you can actually prepare the car to. All this sort of work you can actually do yourself. You don't need a professional to do it, and you know, if you want to learn how to do that, want information on how to do that, you know, feel free to comment or send me a message, and I'll help you guys through the process. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch up when the car's finished.